Torah isn't just laws and stories. It's a spotlight pointing to Jesus. Genesis, the promised seed. Exodus, the Passover lamb. Leviticus, the high priest. Numbers, the living water. Deuteronomy, the prophet greater than Moses. From the beginning to the end, the Torah whispers Jesus in the Torah.
Shalom, everybody. Welcome to this week's Journey Through Torah. This week we're in Parsha Pinchas, which follows right after Parsha Balak. Last week we talked about Balaam and Balak and how they were going in together to attempt to curse Israel, and so that Balak could come in and defeat them. Now, not to go all the way back into that for this portion, we've already covered that. But if you have not gone over that portion yet, I encourage you to do so. It kind of helps fill in some of the foundation for this teaching, and go back and read that as we prepare to get into this one, Numbers chapters 25:10 to chapter 30, verse 1. It's you have to have the foundation before you move forward, right? So it's like Pinchas. If you read Pinchas as an isolated incident, you're going to miss the point. Okay. Matter of fact, some people have used the issue of Pinchas for acts of zeal that are not scriptural. Okay. So we have to be careful not to take things out of context, but we have to keep it in the context that it was given, right? So what is going on here, and how are we going to relate this in? Well, guys, what Yeshua did for us was an act of zeal. He brought redemption to us out of his zeal. He brought righteousness to us out of his zeal. And we're going to draw some parallels into some of these things, okay? Plus, we're going to see some pretty amazing things in the Hebrew today. If you haven't noticed it before, what is peace, right? So we're going to get into some of these things, okay? So first off, just a really quick recap. Because of the teaching of Balaam, sin entered the camp. It wasn't just about the blessings that he spoke, and yes, they were blessings he spoke. He was hired to curse Israel, but Yahweh told Balaam, you cannot curse them, or basically, I'm going to kill you. So he would not speak a curse against them, but he taught Balak how to bring a curse into Israel by causing the people of Israel to stumble into idolatry. Guys, you don't just topple into idolatry perchance. You have to, that's that commitment, you willingly go into this. So the people of Israel were seduced off into idolatry, enticed into that, and then they followed their own desires instead of what Yahweh was desiring for them. We see some of these things in Numbers chapter 31:16. We see that it was not just the words of Balaam, but the teaching of Balaam was the issue. It says, Balaam, behold, he's caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against Yahweh in the matter of Beor, and the plague was among the congregation of Yahweh. And then in Revelation chapter 2, verse 14, it says, I have a few things against you. You have some there who hold to the teaching of Balaam, who taught Balak to throw a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols and commit sexual immorality. So again, it was the teaching that was going on here. So what did he teach him to do? Balak sent the daughters of Moab to cause the people to forsake Moshe and the Torah, to forsake what they've already been given, to forsake the covenant they've already committed to, and go up into idolatry. And if you can remove the word, then anything goes, right? If you can remove the word, I can do what I want. Well, there's some interesting things that are going on here. Because of their idolatry, there was a plague that entered in the camp. Guys, the wages of sin is death, right? So there was, especially right in the presence of Yahweh, right? So there were those who were flaunting their sin right in front of the tabernacle. And so being proud, arrogant, and boastful in their idolatry. And people were dying because of this plague. The interesting thing to note is that that didn't cause the people to stop. People were dying in the plague. They see because of this sin, people are dying, but they didn't care. That really speaks a lot, doesn't it? But what happened with Pinchas? Pinchas carried out a directive of the word that was already given to the people to stop the effects of the plague. Okay, Pinchas did what Yahweh said. He didn't act of his own volition, so to say. Okay, he didn't act of his own thinking. He did what Yahweh said. Yahweh had said to the people, said to the Levites that were there, to go and to slay those that were involved in this idolatry, so that this plague doesn't go into the midst of the entirety of the camp. Why would that happen? Well, guys, let's see this. There were those who I believe were not involved in the idolatry, but they didn't do anything about it either. Again, we do need to help each other, right? So we have to be careful about this. So Pinchas pierced through the two that were flaunted in front of the tabernacle, and that caused the effects of the plague to be stopped, right? Let's take a look at this. What's the result and what's going on? So Numbers 25:11, Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, has turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Now, the interesting thing here is, make a note of this. Pinchas was a son of Aaron. Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron. So he was Aaron's grandson. He was a Kohen. He was a Levite from the tribe of from Aaron. Okay, so he was descended from Aaron, so he was a Kohen. So he had specific tasks and responsibilities among the daily life in the tabernacle. And it said that he acted with my zeal. Okay, now this is an interesting thing. It says he was zealous for my sake. The Hebrew literally is bikanu et kinati. It's the same word twice. Okay, kana, alataf, kana. So what he means, the word kana, means to be zealous, but can also mean jealous, right? So in his zeal, he acted with my zeal. He was zealous with my zeal. Aleph Taf, zeal. So again, the idea here with the Aleph Taf is, I believe it reveals something with the aspect of the Messiah. So we're going to see some things here in regards to Yeshua and what he did in his zeal. All right. Now, the other thing is, you can be zealous for the wrong thing. Okay. Zimri and Cosby, those are the two who were parading their sin in front of the tabernacle before they went in the tent. These two, they were zealous in their idolatry, but it was wrong. Okay. So again, just to be zealous about something doesn't make it right. It's good to have zeal, but you have to have that zeal that is tempered with wisdom and how to apply that zeal. Otherwise, you can be really excited about the wrong thing and cause some problems. All right. Now, the other thing is, the word for zeal and the word for jealous, it's the same word in Hebrew, kana. So we translate it depending on the context, depending on which word it is. But why would it say that he was jealous? Why would it say that Yahweh was jealous? Because we're his bride. Okay, these were his people. They were his bride. And when you're going off into idolatry, you're seeking other husbands. Isaiah 54 says that Yahweh Tzevaot, Yahweh, he is your maker. Okay, he is your husband. So all of this going in together. If he is our husband, we are the bride. Hosea 2:16-17 says, on that day, Adonai says, you will call me Ishi, meaning my husband. You will no longer call me Ba'ali, which can be translated as my master or my husband, like a formal title. Okay. So it's not just the formality of it. There's a relationship there. Ishi also means husband. Ish means man. Ishi is mine. So that's not just a formality. There's a relationship there. And so that's what we're looking at here. So if Yahweh says he is jealous over us, then that means like a husband is over his bride. He protects. Okay, now moving a little forward, Numbers 25:12-13 says, therefore say, I am giving him my covenant of shalom, making a covenant with him and his descendants after him, that the office of Cohen will be theirs forever. This is because he was zealous on behalf of his God, and he made atonement for the people of Israel. A little more insight into here now. We have, in his zeal, he says he has given a covenant of shalom, a covenant of peace. And he says that he and his descendants will have the office of Cohen. And then this is because he was zealous on behalf of his God, and he made atonement. What does it mean to make atonement? We often translate atonement as, well, forgiveness of sin. It's beyond that. Okay, that's how we've commonly called it. But atonement means a covering, something that's covered over. It's not just a removal of something. It's a covering over of something. So he made atonement for the people of Israel. And the act of what he did, it provided a covering to stop the plague. The ones who were guilty were the ones who were punished, and this plague did not go off into the rest of the camp. Now, the interesting thing here is it says where he will give him a covenant of peace. Shalom is what's given here. It's Shin Lamed Vav and a Mem Sofit. So the interesting thing here is that in the word shalom, the Vav is written that's broken right in half. Okay, it's broken right in the middle. Now the thing with the Vav, a Vav, it's pretty much just a little line at the top and a straight line down, right? But if you break that in half, it looks very much like a yod and a spike. Yod is a hand. So we have a picture here. The meaning of the word shalom is, if you take the meaning of each letter, is to destroy the authority that's associated with chaos, that's attached to chaos, right? So that's shalom. Shalom does not mean the absence of problems. It means in the midst of these things, Yahweh destroys the authority that's attached to these things. It'll have no place in your life. Okay. Now, another thing, the letter Vav, it's the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet. But what do you know about six? Well, man was created on the sixth day, so it's commonly associated with man, right? Adam. And so we have a picture here of a man who is broken. Then now the picture of the Vav looks like a hand and a spike. Interesting. Also, the letter Vav, that translated means and, or to be joined to or associated with. It's like a conjunction, right? It means and. It joins things together. And so there are some things we have here. We have a picture of a man that is broken and being pierced through to join us together to shalom. And this here are some things that Yeshua did for us. Okay? So what Pinchas did to stop the effects of the plague within Israel, Yeshua did to stop the effects of the plague among creation. It doesn't mean that the plague is not there. It just stopped the effects of the plague. It doesn't have any authority in our life, and so it's not going to come in and attach and land on us like that. Okay, also, moving on. Psalm 29:11 says, may Yahweh give strength to his people. May Yahweh bless his people with peace. And that's it. If you're his, he says there is peace for you. We have to learn to walk in that peace. And to walk in that peace, it doesn't mean that there's never any turmoil. There are at times we have to protect that peace. And protecting that peace does not mean attacking each other, but protecting that peace means there are times we're going to have to set guard over ourselves to keep the holy things holy, to keep the pure things pure, and to make sure that we are walking in ways that are pleasing to Yahweh. If we are a temple for his presence, then we need to make sure we're not bringing constant defilement there. So if you are searching for peace, then search for Yahweh. He is the one who gives peace. And Yeshua says he's the Prince of Peace, right? Yahweh is the one who gives peace. Look, Jeremiah 29:11-13 says, for I know the plans that I have in mind for you, declares Adonai, plans for shalom and not calamity, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. Guys, true peace only comes from Yahweh. There's no other way to have true peace. You may have times where life is just okay. You're sailing on open waters and it's calm and restful, but that storm's around the corner. How do you have peace in the middle of the storm, right? So like I said, peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is overcoming these things, having that peace even in the midst of them. Isaiah 54:13 says, all your children will be taught by Adonai, and your children will have great shalom. Interesting, because there's a commentary where it says all your children, v'kol benecha, says all your children will be taught by Adonai. So when Yahweh is teaching us, there is great shalom, there is great peace. But there's a commentary that says that you should read this word benecha as bonecha, and that means you are builders. Your children are your builders. They are the ones to continue in the future. They are the ones to continue to perpetuate what you have taught them. Okay? So they are walking in the ways of peace. And when they are taught by Yahweh, when he teaches you, when he teaches your children, they will continue to build a place of shalom in the midst of the earth. Okay, so more on this covenant of peace. He's going to give him a covenant of peace. All right, 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So regardless of what's going on, these are the things that we can rely on. Isaiah 26:3, it says, you keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. Philippians 4:6 and 7 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Messiah Yeshua. This is peace. And he gives this to have our hearts and our minds set with him, and this is what Yeshua gives us. Isaiah 9:6 and 7 says he will be called what? His name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. The increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom to order it and establish it with judgment and justice from henceforth even forever. Last phrase here. The zeal of Yahweh Tzavaot will perform this. So he brings peace by the Prince of Peace through the zeal of Yahweh Tzavaot, the Lord of Hosts. So zeal coming forward here from the Prince of Peace will bring justice and judgment and establish his government forevermore. So, guys, Yeshua had times where he was very zealous and he acted on it. And we see some things here, right? It's not like some of the pictures we have of Yeshua from the old movies where he was just very melancholy, never had any emotion, never anything, and just that was just the way. No, it's not like that. There were times he was zealous for Yahweh and he acted on it, and we see that. But also notice that Yeshua did not go into every home that he passed, go in and start throwing out idols, to start throwing out all their stuff and confronting all the ideologies of all the people. He didn't do this, guys. I mean, he did talk to the people. He did address their sin. He did do these things, but he didn't go door to door and just start trashing their stuff and yelling at them because they were wrong. All right. He confronted those who confronted him, and to those who were searching for him, he brought answers. These are the things he did, right? He did deal zealously with inappropriate behavior in his father's house, though. There are some things going on there. We're talking about the money changers. And I want to make another point here that the money changers, the issue was not that they were in the proximity of the temple or that they were money changers. Okay. The issue was greed. They were price gouging. Guys, I live in Florida. And if there's a hurricane or a natural disaster, something's going on, there's a law that says you cannot start price gouging because now there's a demand for your products. Okay, so what was going on with these people? They were price gouging. If people came in and they wanted to worship Yahweh, they had to exchange the money for the temple currency. And in order to do that, there was an exchange fee. Guys, even banks today do the same thing. If you want to exchange your money into another country's currency, they charge you a fee for that. Well, they were exorbitant fees. They were price gouging because of a holy thing. And that's what Yeshua was saying wasn't right. Not the fact that they were there, okay, but the fact that they were greedy. Look at this, Mark 11:15-17. And they came to Jerusalem, and they entered the temple and began to drive out those who sold and those who bought in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. And he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. And he was teaching them and saying to them, is it not written, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you have made it a den of thieves. So where's he talking from? What's he saying here? Okay, Isaiah 56:4-7 is where he's quoting from. And what are we looking at here? So thus says Yahweh, to the eunuchs who keep my Shabbats and who choose the things that please me and hold fast to my covenant, I will give in my house and within my walls a monument and a name better than sons and daughters, and I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. And to the foreigners who join themselves to Yahweh, to minister to him, to love the name of Yahweh and be his servants, everyone who keeps the Sabbath and does not profane it and holds fast my covenant. These I will bring to my holy mountain, make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices will be accepted on my altar, for my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. So you're saying here, all people from all nations, they want to come to worship Yahweh, they can do that, and they have their offerings will be accepted. So there are offerings that are done here, right? So this is not the issue of the fact that they were there selling things for the offerings. They were allowed to do that, okay, because you had to have them for your worship. So that was not the issue. Again, the issue was price gouging. Go to Jeremiah 7, 1 through 11. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, stand in the gate of Yahweh's house and proclaim there this word and say, hear the word of Yahweh, all you men of Judah who enter these gates to worship Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh Sabaoth, the God of Israel, amend your ways and your deeds, and I will let you dwell in this place. Do not trust in these deceptive words. This is the temple of Yahweh, the temple of Yahweh, the temple of Yahweh. For if you truly amend your ways and your deeds, if you truly execute justice one with another, see, what's he talking about? He's talking about don't bring your offerings if your heart's not right. If your heart's not in it, the offering doesn't do you any good, is what he's saying. Okay. 6, Jeremiah 7, 6. If you do not oppress the sojourner, the fatherless, or the widow, or shed innocent blood in this place, and if you do not go after other gods to your own harm, then I will let you dwell in this place and in the land that I gave of old to your fathers forever. Behold, you trust in deceptive words to no avail. Will you steal, murder, commit adultery, swear falsely, make offerings to Baal, and go after other gods that you have not known, and then come and stand before me in this house which is called by my name and say, we are delivered, only to go on doing all these abominations? Has this house which has been called by my name become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, I myself have seen it, declares Yahweh. So what he's saying is, you're not living for him outside of the temple, but now you want to come to the temple and you want to worship and you want to appear to have it all together and be holy and everything else, right? Not there. Okay, not the way it is. So what was the issue with having an offering to work with? Okay. If you were traveling at a long distance or traveling on a long journey, you would not be able to bring your offerings on this far distance, on this far way, especially the amount of time it might take you to do that to get to Jerusalem to bring your offering, especially if you're doing it 3 times a year. So what the Torah says in Deuteronomy 14, verses 24 and 25, if it's too far for you, it says that you can sell your offering, set that money aside, go to Jerusalem, then buy what you need when you're there for your worship to bring your offerings to put on the altar at that point. Okay. So that's what he says. That was permissible. That was a solution he had. So you didn't have to travel with this big herd, right? So you could do that. You could get there. You could purchase the offerings. Okay, moving on. Being zealous and being zealous for truth. How do we handle the truth when we have the truth that is presented to us? How do we deal with that? Are we zealous for the things of Yahweh? And if our zeal leads us to just attack other people, then there's a problem. Our zeal should lead us to a place of repentance and getting rid of those things in our life. Titus 2:14 says he gave himself for us that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify unto himself a peculiar people zealous of good works. We should be zealous to do good, not zealous to attack one another and tell each other how wrong we are. Okay. And again, yes, I understand there's issues of if you care about somebody, you're going to help them out in areas that they may not see where things are wrong. Okay. But we do not live and exist to call everyone out. We live in the kingdom to try to show a better way and to try to show the heart and love of the Father to one another. That speaks the truth to one another, but that also brings the directive back to Yahweh, not a matter of you have to do it my way. Revelation 3:19 says, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten, so be zealous and repent. See that? Zeal should lead us into a place of repentance. You think, okay, but Yeshua said he didn't come to bring peace, he came to bring a sword. What does that mean? Well, it's Matthew 10:34. And we're not just talking about like a sword of judgment or military action, violence, this kind of a thing. We would think sword, we think war, but there's other kind of things that are done here. Okay, the word used there for sword is a derivative of another Greek word meaning like a knife, like a dagger. Okay, this type of instrument, like a large knife that's used by fishermen to separate the different parts of the cut of meat. Well, who was he around and who would he be talking to? So it makes sense that this is what he's saying. So I didn't come just to bring peace, but I came to bring a separation. idea of separating sheep and goats, possibly. The idea of separating his people, those who are his and those who are not, right? The same term that was given there is used to explain the ability to separate truth and error. We see that in Hebrews 4:12, where it says the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. The word sword is what we're talking about. Piercing to the division of soul and spirit, joints and marrow, discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. So we're talking about discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart, discerning that which is spiritual of the spirit and that which is of the carnal old nature, the things of we should not be following versus the new things that Yahweh is calling us into to walk according to his ways. Matter of fact, Yeshua says, blessed are the peacemakers, right? What does it say about Matthew 5:9? For they shall be called the sons of God. Zechariah 8:12. It says, for there shall be a sowing of peace, and the vine will give its fruit, and the ground will give its produce, and the heavens shall give their due, and I will cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. Again, living in peace. That doesn't mean living in denial. It means learning how to trust Yahweh, learning how to walk with him and have that peace in the middle of a storm going on. James 3:17 and 18 says, wisdom from above is pure and peaceable. If we want wisdom from Yahweh, we're going to have some peace in that. Gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. How do we sow? It says a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. To sow in peace means we're not going to be overbearing, proud, arrogant, boastful. I'm right, you're wrong, you have to listen to me kind of a thing. We need to sow the word of Yahweh, but we need to sow it in peace. Yes, we need to tell the truth, but we need to tell the truth in love. There is a difference in how we deliver that. Okay. Sometimes that means the hard things. We have to make decisions, and we do have to say the hard things. We do have to do those things. But how we do that is going to be a little different. It's not that we're mad and we're going to do that. No, we're hurt and we want to help, right? So Pinchas, son of Eleazar, he followed in the task of his father. He followed in the task of his tribe, which was what? Numbers 3:32. Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, was to be chief over the chiefs of the Levites and to have oversight of those who kept guard over the sanctuary. There were those who kept guard over the sanctuary. Why would you need to have guards watching the sanctuary? Why would the sanctuary need guarding? What would you need to keep it from? Keep it from who? Or keep it from what? Why would they need gatekeepers on the sanctuary? Let's take a look at it. Numbers 18, 1-7. So Yahweh says to Aaron, you and your sons and your father's house with you will bear iniquity connected with the sanctuary, and you and your sons with you shall bear iniquity connected with your priesthood. And with you bring your brothers also, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, that they may join you and minister to you while you and your sons with you are before the tent of the testimony. They shall keep guard over you and over the whole tent, but shall not come near to the vessels of the sanctuary or to the altar, lest they and you die. Verse 4, they shall join you and keep guard over the tent of meeting for all the service of the tent, and no outsider shall come near you. And you shall keep guard over the sanctuary and over the altar, that there may never again be wrath on the people of Israel. And behold, I have taken your brothers, the Levites, from among the people of Israel. They are a gift to you, given to Yahweh, to do the service of the tent of meeting. And you and your sons with you shall guard your priesthood for all that concerns the altar, all that is within the veil, and you shall serve. I give your priesthood as a gift, and any outsider who comes near shall be put to death. So we have the Levites who were guarding the things at the gate and guarding things around the tabernacle. Inside, we have Aaron and his sons guarding these things. They were guarding and protecting it from anyone who would approach the tabernacle maliciously, anyone who would approach the tabernacle with ill intent, or anyone who would come with the means of wanting to bring a defilement to the tabernacle. So these were things that they had to guard and they had to watch over to make sure this didn't happen. Well, in the issue of Pinchas, we have that understanding. There were those who were involved in idolatry right in front of the tabernacle. And they weren't supposed to do that, right? especially right there. Arthur Wallach at Hebrew University in Jerusalem has some interesting things to say about this. He says that the priests and the Levites share custody of the sanctuary, the priests guarding within at the entrance, and the Levites guarding without. So the priests guard what was inside the courtyard, and the Levites guard that which was outside it. All the priests and the Levites are responsible if disqualified priests or Levites encroach upon the sancta. Kohathite Levites are responsible for encroachment by Israelites while they carry the sancta, the holy things. And all the Levites whose cordons ring the encamped sanctuary are responsible for any Israelite encroachment. The penalty priests and Levites pay for failure to prevent encroachment is that of Nadav and Avihu, death by divine agency. There can be no question that there were certain dangers associated with functioning as a priest. So when Pinchas acted out here, he was doing what Yahweh had said to do, that those who were involved in the idolatry, the punishment, they were going to die, to carry that through. And then he was doing their job anyway, because this was the task that was given to the Levites and the Kohen, right? So what we learn from this is that our zeal for Yahweh will cause us to rid the idolatry in our life. Okay, it's being zealous for the things of Yahweh means to get rid of the things that bring in defilement, get rid of the things that are serving the world, get rid of these things. 2 Corinthians 6:16-18 says, "What agreement does God's temple have with idols? For we are the temple of the living God, just as God said, I will dwell in them, I will walk among them, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Therefore come out from among them and be separate, says Adonai. Touch no unclean thing, and then I will take you in. I will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says Adonai Tzavaot." 1 Corinthians 6:19 says, "Don't you know that your body is a temple for the Ruach HaKodesh who is in you, whom you have from God, and that you are not your own?" Guys, being zealous for Yahweh doesn't mean we're going to attack each other and beat each other down because we don't agree with the way somebody is doing something. What it means is we're going to, one, learn the word, and we're going to learn to apply it first in our own lives and try to help one another in these areas where we fail. Okay. Pinchas does not give you the right or the license or the decree to just go out and start attacking people. Right. First off, Pinchas was guarding the tabernacle. He wasn't going into all the homes and ransacking all the homes. No, there were offenders directly related to the tabernacle and bringing uncleanness there, and he dealt with that. So we have to be careful that we don't take one instance in Scripture, pull it out of context, and try to make that apply to every instance everywhere. Okay, you can't do that. That's not a proper way to interpret Scripture. So you got to be careful with these things too. This was a specific incident for a specific cause for a specific thing. Okay, this is not a blanket statement. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you on this one today. So I hope it's been an encouragement to you. I hope it's challenged you and blessed you. I hope we learned a few things, right? I hope we learn to apply these things in our lives as well. So if this has been a blessing to you, I pray that you share it in whatever avenue you watch or you listen to these teachings. Share them, help get them out there. It's been a blessing to you. It's going to bless somebody else too, right? So if it's blessed you, please help share it and get that out there. And if it has been a blessing to you, then please consider making a donation to help us to continue to make these videos and put them out there, because we can only do that through your help. All right. So until next time, guys, be blessed, be a blessing, and shalom.
Thank you for watching Jesus in the Torah. If you would like, subscribe, and share these teachings with your friends. For more resources, please visit HFF.church and visit our campuses in Oklahoma City and Dallas on Saturdays. Remember, everything points to Jesus.